Let's talk about process a little bit here. It is incredibly important, especially if you've never done this before, to follow a process. And the reason for that is you can then go back and track what you did and did not do. So if there's any question that comes up along the journey, you can go back and say, well, I did this and I did this and I did this. And there are phases that you do this in. So let's talk about which phases. There is, let's create the project statement phase. Let's get that done first, because that's going to be our guide for everything else. Then there's the ideation phase. And usually when you're doing idea generation and creation, you don't have fully thought out ideas. What you get is proto-ideas, little pieces of ideas. Those then are usually combined into a bigger piece, and then you have kind of a complete idea, but not a concept. The next phase is to build that into a concept. So what's a concept? Well, a concept is, what is it? How does it work? Who benefits from it? Those are really the key questions. What is it? How does it work? Who benefits? And why? And by the way, it doesn't matter if you benefit. It's the end user that has the benefit from this thing. So that's really what you start doing as a concept statement. And then eventually you fill out that into a very complete statement. In the beginning, there's less. It can be sort of sketchy, but as you move into it, you have to develop it more so that it really fills out and answers questions, because you're going to use that concept statement then to go test this with people in the market to see if your idea is any good. If that concept statement's not good, or it doesn't translate from what you're trying to say into what the group understands, the people understand, you've got a problem. So you got to make sure that that translation is good. So from concept, for skinny concept, to full concept, and then from the concept to testing, then you're going to do market testing with this. After the testing phase with the concept, you may, depending on what you're trying to do, you may have to actually develop a working model. And sometimes these can be very expensive. So things that come close to it may work. In some cases, you have to build a real model. In one case, we worked on a project was a window washing machine that you actually pushed out underneath the window, and it had a gizmo in it that would make it work, clean the window from the inside, even though you're cleaning. Well, the problem was trying to explain that to somebody, nobody got it. So basically, it never happened. There are other concepts that scare people to death. This is a while ago, but we worked on a project where it was a lawnmower that was computer guided, basically had a chip in it, and it would learn how to cut your grass. Now, this was before the ones that actually exist today, and no one trusted the computer that it could not run over the cat. So you had to watch, though you have to look for those sorts of things. Once you've actually tested or modeled it, if you can have a real true working model, that's the best test. But those are expensive, so you really want to build through those other phases first before you try to build a real working model. Working models then can be taken out and tested in where they're going to be used, and that gets a lot of good information, but usually it's very expensive to do. But that's the last phase. Once you pass all those tests, then you probably have yourself a product that can then be launched. But then again, you need to make sure you've gathered all your information at each one of these stages, and if you've done a really good job of that, writing the business plan should be